Japan, bombed Tokyo, and then they went on into China, landed in China because they didn't have enough fuel to get back, and I don't believe they could land those bombers on a carrier anyway. So this was a very brave move. Most of them made it. There were, I don't remember how many planes, like 9 or 10 or a dozen airplanes that took off. And one of them crashed, and the rest made it into China. And some of them fell. China was occupied by the Japanese at the time, and some of the crews ended up in being captured by the Japanese and spent time in the rest of the war in prison camp. The rest of the crews, the majority actually, got out of. They were helped by the Chinese people, and they essentially made their way out of China and got back home. Everybody got back. Everybody who didn't die got back home later. But anyway, in addition to being leading that raid, for which he's most famous, he was also an aviation pioneer. He worked for a petroleum company, and he did all kinds of things to improve aviation in the 1930s. He was the first one to ever fly instrument at night. He was the first one to ever fly an outside loop. If you're familiar with those aerobatic terms and stuff. Yeah, he's a family hero. He died at age 95 or 6, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. Oh, and his father is buried in Seward, Alaska, where she lives. He grew up in Alaska.
Well, then your son-in-law make a...
Phil, the museum in Dayton has a bunch of stuff.
I've never visited.
And
I've seen it.
That's a free museum.
Okay, did you hear what you just said? There's a museum in Dayton, right on the. You see the sign right on the expressway, right? There's a sign. It has a lot about.
It's a national park.
Also, if you're in Hawaii, the museum on Pearl Harbor has a Jimmy Doolittle display.
Because they had a bunch of books about him too. The Doolittle raid. There was all kinds of books in the book.
So there's our bit of history for today. We've talked enough.